Magyar szólások és közmondások angolul beszélőknek.
Hungarian sayings and proverbs for English speakers. Dogs and fleas.
Aki kutyával hál, bolhásan kell fel.
Let's take this one apart. Kutya, we've met before. It's a dog. And here we've got kutyával. Remember, if we add a suffix to a word ending in a short A, it becomes a long A. So kutyával means with a dog. Bolha is a flea. And bolhás means something like flea-bitten or covered in fleas. Here we also have an AN ending, bolhásan, which makes it into an adverb, in the manner of being covered with fleas. Hál is sleep. Now some of you may know alsik. The difference is hál means sleep in the sense of spend the night or lie down and sleep, whereas alsik is just the act of sleeping. Fel is to rise. It applies to both getting out of bed in the morning or the sun. We also have a word at the beginning, oki. Oki is related to another one you may know, which is ki. Ki is who as a question word. Oki is who as a pronoun. So it looks like who, dog with, lies down and sleeps. Flea bitten in a manner of rises up. Let's convert from Hunglish to English. Who spends the night with a dog gets up covered with fleas. We have an equivalent one in English. If you lie down with dogs, you get up with fleas. It's not surprising that we have two similar sayings in both Hungarian and English because the original was a Latin saying. So it's a very old thought that you've got to be careful with the company you keep. If you associate with disreputable people, your own reputation will suffer and you may also be led astray. So for additional vocab, we're going to look at some creepy crawlies other than fleas. I hope fleas are not something that you come across in Hungary. Rovar is an insect. Bogar is a bug. Ledge, you'll find lots of these, is a fly. Me, B. What's interesting about me is that the H is not pronounced unless there's something after it. So me, one B, may heck, several Bs. Pilongo, butterfly. Lovely word, lovely insect. And sunyog. Sunyog is not a lovely insect. Hungary has something like 53 species of mosquito, and as someone who's allergic to mosquitoes, it makes summer quite unpleasant. Moving away from the insects, we have pog, a spider. Unlike Australia, New Zealand has only one native venomous spider, and it's pretty shy. It's the caterpillar, and it lives in the sand dunes, which is one reason why I don't lie in the sand dunes. The female is about the size of a pea, and as with many spiders, the male is smaller. But we do have an interesting group of insects. The weta. Yes, that's what Weta Workshop was named after. There's about 100 species of weta, and they look like a bit like big, flightless crickets. The key word is big. The giant weta can be 100 millimetres long and normally weighs 20 to 30 grams, but there's one on record at 70 grams. Now this is an insect. The giant weta is only found in a few places in New Zealand, but wetas are found everywhere. And my grandmother recalls when she was a child, she lived on the edge of the New Zealand bush, and she actually had a weta as a pet. And it would crawl up and down her hand with its sticky little feet. She loved them. So let's have some more vocab, apart from insects, some bed-related stuff. First of all, a bed itself. Aid. Now be careful. Aid with a long A, ah, as opposed to a short A, o. Odd. Completely different words, completely different meanings. Just pointing out that that mark on the A is not just a thing that you don't have to worry about. O and A are two different letters, and they can create quite different words. Another important example, hal, meaning to lie down and sleep the night, as opposed to hol, which means to die. Big difference if you're hal or hol. One's sleeping, one's dead. And incidentally, hol also has another meaning as a noun meaning a fish. So, where were we? Tokoro is a blanket. Pano is a pillow. And pijama, your PJs. Now let's have a look at that ZS. In Hungarian, it's a single letter, betu, and a single sound in Hungarian. Hungarians are quite aware that it's made up of two symbols, the Z and the S, but together they make a single letter. In IPA, it's a j, like the j in pleasure. So remember, in English we don't actually pronounce the S in pleasure as an S, but a j. That's about the same sound. We have the j sound in zak, meaning a bag, and one that some of the older people may remember, jaja gabor. Jaja, by the way, is short for zhuja. In our previous video, we looked at how you can change the meaning of the word ishik with a prefix. You can do exactly the same thing with cal. Art cal is something like cross over. So art cal or zugon is to shoot the rapids, and we have great fun in the Shotover River near Queenstown. And kikal is to rise out, that is to hatch. There's quite a variation on what the meaning can be with a different prefix. You can even edbekel, vocab, is to marry someone. What we saw in the saying, however, was not bolhásan fel kell, but bolhásan kell fel. So the prefix has been taken off and put after the root word. Why? It comes back to our old friend focus. In Hungarian, the word order depends on focus. Focus is the most important driver of what order the words go in. So some languages like English are subject, verb, object. Some languages are subject, object, verb. But neither of those ways of looking at the sentence work. So what this means is the most important word in this sentence or in this phrase is bolhásan. What is important is not that you've got up, but when you've got up, you are flavored. It's the fleas that are important, not the getting up. So in this case, the reason for splitting the prefix is simply that the word bolhásan is the most important part of the phrase, so it must go before the verb. And in Hungarian, the verb is actually the base verb, the kell. The fel is considered to be a little bit extra, not that important. There are other situations where you split the focus, and I'll just look at just three common ones. Nam ishik le. He did not fall down. Here, the most important word is nam, no or not. when a verb follows nam, the prefix is always split off. If you say he falls down, it's la eshik. If you say he doesn't fall down, nam eshik le. The other time that you must split it is when you have a question word, because a question word is always the most important word. Who gets up? Ki kel fell. The most important word in the sentence is ki, who, the question word, and it comes before the kel. And finally, way back when we looked at cabbages and goats, we had Marajon meg, stay. In the case of an imperative, you always split off the prefix, even though there is no other word there. The most important part is the stay, the marajon, so that goes at the beginning of the sentence, and the meg is an afterthought.
Aki kutyával hál, bolhásan kell fel.
Who spends the night with a dog gets up covered in fleas. So careful who you associate with if you don't want to be led down the wrong path. Associating with me will get you onto the path of being more familiar with a range of Hungarian vocab and grammar. And if you like this video, don't forget to leave a like.